In the early 1990s, hip-hop was rapidly evolving, and two artists were rising to legendary status on opposite sides of the United States. One was Tupac Shakur, a passionate and outspoken rapper whose music carried powerful messages about struggle, social issues, and life in the streets. The other was the Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, a Brooklyn storyteller whose smooth delivery and vivid lyrics quickly made him one of the most respected voices in East Coast rap. Interestingly, before the rivalry ever existed, Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. actually shared mutual respect. Tupac even supported Biggie early in his career and admired his lyrical ability. They crossed paths at events, performed on the same stages, and represented a new generation of hip-hop talent that was reshaping the music industry. At the time, hip-hop culture was highly competitive but still rooted in respect between artists. Tupac Shakur was building momentum with powerful songs that spoke about real-life struggles, while the Notorious B.I.G. was gaining recognition for his storytelling and charismatic flow. Fans admired both artists for different reasons, and many believed they represented the future of rap music. However, as their careers grew, the music industry around them became more intense. Record labels, media outlets, and fans began framing hip-hop as a regional battle between the West Coast and the East Coast. Tupac Shakur became closely associated with the West Coast scene, while the Notorious B.I.G. stood proudly as one of the defining voices of New York hip-hop. What began as admiration between two talented artists slowly became overshadowed by rumors, misunderstandings, and outside pressures. The relationship between Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. would soon change dramatically, setting the stage for one of the most talked about rivalries in the history of music. The turning point in the relationship between Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. came during a moment that shook the hip-hop world. In 1994, Tupac Shakur was involved in a violent incident at a recording studio in New York. After the event, Tupac began to suspect that people in the East Coast rap circle had prior knowledge of what happened. Among those he publicly criticized was the Notorious B.I.G., who was associated with the same studio environment that night. Although Biggie denied any involvement, the tension between the two artists began to grow rapidly. Tupac Shakur expressed his frustrations openly in interviews and music, while fans and media outlets amplified the situation. The rivalry soon expanded beyond just two artists. It became symbolic of a larger divide within the hip-hop industry. On one side was the West Coast, represented by Tupac Shakur and the powerful movement around Death Row Records. On the other side stood the East Coast, with the Notorious B.I.G. and the influential Bad Boy Records label representing New York hip-hop. Songs, interviews, and public appearances began reflecting the tension between the two sides. Fans debated intensely about loyalty, regional pride, and artistic dominance. Tupac Shakur released music that openly criticized his rivals, while the Notorious B.I.G. responded through his own artistic expression and public statements. As the rivalry grew, it captured the attention of the entire music world. What had once been a friendship between two talented rappers was now seen as one of the defining conflicts in hip-hop culture. Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. had become central figures in a story that would shape the narrative of rap music for years to come. Over time, the rivalry between Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. became more than just a personal disagreement between two artists. It reflected a complex moment in hip-hop history where music, media, and cultural identity were all deeply intertwined. Fans on both coasts passionately supported their favorite artists. Tupac Shakur was celebrated for his raw emotion and fearless expression, while the Notorious B.I.G. was admired for his storytelling mastery and smooth lyrical flow. Each artist represented a unique perspective within hip-hop culture. Despite the intense competition and public disagreements, both Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. left an incredible legacy in music. Their albums, lyrics, and performances continue to influence generations of artists and listeners around the world. Over the years, many fans and historians have reflected on the rivalry with a deeper understanding. What once seemed like a battle between two artists is now seen as a powerful chapter in the evolution of hip-hop culture. The music created during that era remains timeless, reminding people of the creativity, passion, and impact both artists brought to the industry. Today, the names Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. continue to be spoken with respect and admiration. Their contributions to hip-hop remain monumental, and their stories continue to inspire discussions about artistry, legacy, and the cultural power of music.